one without addressing these other concerns, and whether Mr. Fazamana participates in these sessions or not. I think the most important thing is a large segment of the community has been consulted, and we continue to consult them. Take uniforms as an example. Uniforms serve to project a common identity, which in turn develop an esprit de corps to strengthen camaraderie. In the case of public healthcare services, the uniform underscores that our healthcare workers are neutral and provide impartial care regardless of race and religion. This is a reminder on both the healthcare workers as well as the persons receiving the care. This is in addition to the uniform meeting operational and safety requirements. So, our Muslim nurses and their colleagues continue to perform their duties with dignity, pride, and professionalism. We can attest to this through our own personal experiences. I was just hospitalized 2 months back, and I attest to them performing their duty with utmost respect from all of us. But even so, even more important, they perform it during national crises like SARS and more currently COVID-19 accidents. There are Muslim scholars, sir. There are Muslim scholars who have given guidance that Muslims must make appropriate adjustments while staying true to their faith when living in a plural and contemporary society.
どうだ？なんか気分悪そうな表情だな。
We must avoid situations like in other countries where issues of religious expression take center stage and become a divisive matter.
これはあらゆる可能性の中で最も正常な反応で喜ばしい結果だよ。この薬剤は元素力を体内に流し込むから通常なら拒絶反応を引き起こすんだ。内部の流れが順調なら一時的な不快感に耐えればいい。他の影響はないよ。
つまりお前は気分が悪くなるのを知った上でそれを飲んだのか？
僕が作った薬剤だから僕から試すのが筋だろ。
That while Islam commands women to wear tudung, he advised Muslim women against living their jobs solely because
もちろん
they are
さ、
not able to wear it.
君は僕の協力者。
He advised
君にリスクを背負わせるわけにはいかない。とにかく結論から言うよ。元素力テストにおいては君はこの世界のものと同じ。特別なところはないよ。
もっと特別かと思ってたのに。
特別よりも普通の方がいいと思うけどね。特別は全て望み通りというわけじゃないよ。普通のメリットは周りは君と同じ。君を理解できる人が多くいること。同じだから互いを理解し思いやりや励まし支え合うことができる。病気になった時も他人と同じだから診断しやすい。何かあっても他人と同じだから経験談を聞くことができる。でも特別な人はそういう当たり前を体験できない。命の本質から違いがあるからね。例えば人類は爆炎樹や強風のコアの生活を理解できないだろう。この説明で理解できるかな。とにかく実験の結果はいいものだった。少なくとも君は安心してその元素力を使うことができる。ティマイオス、新たな実験結果が出たよ。まとめてくれるかい？
はい、任せてください先生。さっき先生からヒントをもらって僕の考えの狭さを改めて思い知りました。君を動物だと決めつけるのは慎重な判断ではなかった。でも君を元素生物だと検証することから始めれば。
面白い考えだ。細かなところは僕が判断するより 君自身で研究した方が良さそうだね。
はい、必ずみんなを満足させる結果を出してみせます。
落ち込むどころかやる気に満ち溢れてるな。真面目だと言うべきか、それともアルベドの口がうまいと言うべきか。
では次の研究に入る前に準備があるから少し待っててほしい。興味があるならここを見学してみるといい。時間を潰せるだろう。
We do our best to convince our community leaders, our religious leaders, our union leaders. They understand. We hope that they will also, in their own ways, discuss these matters with their members, constructively, yet in private, away from the glare of the public. And I hope Mr. Faisal Manat can do likewise. If he wants to speak to community leaders, he can do so, but do so away from the glare of the public. And that's what we should remember. I know I've spoken to many of them. In fact, just a few weeks ago, I spoke to a group of union leaders, and we spoke about these issues in private. The community leaders understand this sensitivity. I sincerely hope that Mr. Faisal Manat understands that too. This is something we cannot take for granted. This is something we must take seriously. This is something that we are sure Singapore's
何か興味をそそられるものは見つかったかな？
to be kept the way it is. Thank you.
気にすることはない。錬金術の道具ばかりだし、日常生活で使うことはないからね。とにかく急いで次の研究に入ろうか。異なる世界には大きな違いが存在する可能性がある。例えばテイワットでは神の目を持つ者は元素力を使える。しかしただ一人のみが元素力を使える世界、もしくは誰もが元素力を使える世界が存在するかもしれない。だから元素の他に君はこの世界にない特殊な力を持ってはいないかな？それとも前みたいに実験で検証する必要があるかい？いやいや、今回は簡単だよ。そこに柱がある。念力でそれを折ってみてくれ。
That MUIS is engaging all stakeholders. But please keep them short. Dr. Wan Rizal, and then I'll circle back to Mr. Faisal Manap. But keep them short, please.
すでに試したことがあるのかい？
Thank you, Chairman. I thank the Minister for articulating clearly the position of the government on the issue of tudung in uniform services.
調理ではなく元素力を料理に入れるんだ。それで料理が美味しくなるか気になるよ。それとも食感が変わったり増殖したり他人が気づかないところに好奇心を向けると新たな発見があったりするんだ。バター魚焼きを作ってほしい。これは僕が用意したレシピだ。
準備ってのはレシピのことだったのか？
僕は普段よくこれを食べるんだ。だから実験としても料理としてもいい選択なんだよ。
絶対にお腹空いてるだけだよな。でも美味しいものを作るならオイラは反対しないぞ。
I thank the member for the question. This indeed is one of the difficult areas
では頼むよ。
that MUIS has for the
実験結
longest
果を
time
楽しみに
since
してる。
formation,
食べきれない場合は
community,
ティマイオスも呼んでくるといい。
asatiza,
オ
so
イ
that
ラがいるから
not only
そんな
will
の
they
心配ないぜ。
fulfill their
ど
duties
う
and
すれば元
obligations
素
as
力を
religious
料理
teachers,
に入れ
but
られ
also
るんだ？
understand how
さ
that
っ
can be
き
done
あいつが言った
even
念
when
力で
optimal.
か？
Therefore, this
という
continued
か
engagement
そ
that
れ
we
を
have
思い
with
つくこと
their
自
leaders
体
to
す
their
ごいと思うぞ。
bodies, regulatory bodies like ARD,
やっぱ
through the associations like Pergas, must be ongoing. If there are new developments, we will update them and think about how we can move forward. Now, I think the real question the member is asking is when will this happen? when will we have a decision? You know, if you have already agreed with someone you're going to marry, you can have a wedding date. A wedding can have a wedding date. But when you are dating, I don't think you have a wedding date or time to decide with your partner. We better decide this by this time or else we go together or not together. And therefore, when we resolve matters like this, we cannot resolve it with a deadline. Instead, it is one where we engage and prepare the ground. Continue to engage and prepare the ground. Why? So that when the moment comes and we have to make a decision, it brings the least impact to those affected.
とても美味しい。
And hopefully even because we have done
君は
this
料理の
groundwork,
才能があるね。
address the issues, and hopefully they accept it.
僕が楽しみにしてた増殖現象はなかった。
that we have as fellow Singaporeans.
どうやら君の世界でも
But
食べ物に困らないわけではないようだ。
to build
いや、
relationship, trust with each other.
この世界の法則が
That we will
君
get
の
to
特殊
this
能力を制限している可能性は
when we can do
ま
this.
ず調味料のように元素力を料理に入れる方法がわからなかったよな。
大丈夫。少なくとも美味しい料理は無駄にならなかったんだから落ち込むことはないよ。さあ、これはパイモンの分だ。ゆっくり食べて持ち帰ってくれてもいい。
やったー、覚えてくれてたんだな。
実験中、パイモンはずっと君の心配をしてた。きっと君の大事な友達なんだろうね。そういう心配が役に立つかどうかは別だけど。
おい、おいらの悪口を言うなよ。でも、美味しいものをごちそうしてくれたから許してやるぞ。おいらたちの仲を羨ましがる必要はないぞ。お前にも友達や生徒たちがいるだろ。
そうだね。僕は運に恵まれてる方だね。それより次の実験に移ろうか。錬金術の道具は種類が雑多だし、その保管方法は実に難しい。少し前にあるアクシデントで僕のコレクションが地面に散らばったことがあるんだ。そのほとんどは見つかったけど、風象徴の元素抽出物と無双の雷の粉末がどうしても見つからない。
ご飯を作った後は落とし物探しか？
もともと作り直すつもりだったから大丈夫だよ。ただ、もし見つかったら手間が省ける。君に暗視や振動感知などの超能力があれば落とし物を見つけるなんて楽勝だろうけどね。君たちが見学した場所のどこかにあると思うんだ。
じゃあやってみるか？そうだ、元素資格を使えばいいぞ。
Putting up a sensitive topic like this that may spur some part of our community to actions that we may regret later on. On the issue of why other countries can do it, there are many things that other countries do that we don't do. We are Singaporeans, we do what is good by Singapore. If we want to do something that they like, we must also then do what we don't like that they do.
風象徴の抽出物。
We do what is
つまり
good for us,
風元素だよ
our
な。
community,
これで間違いないはずだ。
as member of parliament,
瓶
swore
が
that
丈夫でよかったな。
Constitution to uphold and preserve it as needed.
I think the minister has replied to both your clarifications.
全
I
部
don't
見つけてくれたんだ
think
ね。
there's a need for Dr.
ありがと
Maliki
う。
to take the rostrum. No. All right, we'll move on.
落とし物探しも雪山で僕を探したのも元素資格を使った。
X cut.
そうだね。
T. Mr. Leong
超
Man
能
Wai.
力みたいなもんかもな。
残念ながら確かに元素資格は珍しいけどテイワットにある能力だよ。聞いたことのない異世界の超能力だけ僕の研究に役立つんだ。
I share the sentiments expressed by the honorable member Silverlin as far back as the 2016
そう落ち込まないで。それも想定内だよ。それに落とし物を回収できたし価値のある実験だった。落とし物に元素力があると思いついたのも称賛に値する。さて、今までは異世界の違いを研究してきたけど、次は君の人類としての肩書きに関する研究を始めよう。
$489 million with
人類の個体差は
2,565 staff.
知能と身体能力から調べられる。
IRAS
まずは
running
身体
costs
能力から
are
始めようか。
$432
ここか
million
ら
with
スクロースが何をしてるか
2,050 staff.
見えるかい？
And GovTech $403 million
では平地から
3,610
あちらの崖
staff.
にジャンプしたら見える
So
かい？
PA's cost per staff is even
では
higher than that of
目の前の
IRAS
山を破
and
壊したら
GovTech,
見えるかい？
which are supposed to have a higher proportion of professional staff. Furthermore, from actual expenditures of FY 2020, PA
それな
has
ら
spent only
少し簡単なことからしよう
$199
か。
million, which is about
質問より
30% of its running
実
costs
験の方が
on
直感的だし
activities
ね。
and projects.
身体能
With
力
the
の実
balance
験にふさわしい場所を知ってる。
$441 million, which is
ついてきて。
70% of its running cost spent on administration. Why is such an expensive administration structure needed when the main job of PA is to be a bridge between the government and the citizens? And much of the work of the PA is carried out by the grassroots volunteers and volunteer worker organizations. We wholeheartedly support the hard work put up by the staff and the volunteers of PA to strengthen the social fabric of our country. However, is there more that we can do to redefine the role of PA at a higher level and to ensure that the funds are deployed in areas that help our needy Singaporeans most? We would like to know the proportion of PA's leaders, staff, and volunteers who are members of any political party. If it is so heavily funded by taxpayers' money, we wish that the PA is a real organization for the people, with its leadership and membership not skewed towards any political party. In view of the recent debate on the CDC, we would also like to know the CDC's budget as a percentage of the PA's budget. Thank you.
Ms. Joan Pereira, I'd like to take both your cuts together, please do.
Chairman, the disruption to our economy from the pandemic has had different
オイラ
impact
たち
on
に
various
ここから
segments
飛
of
び
our
降りろ
country.
とか
COVID-19
どう
has
だろうね。
inflicted disproportionate
君たちに
hardship
もっといい方
upon
法
those
があれ
who
ば
are less
やめる
well
よ。
off and push those at the margins into further difficulties.
どんな
To
方
make
法でも
matters
構わないか
worse,
ら
rampant
下の
misinformation on the
湖の向
internet
こう
and
岸にたどり
social
着け
media
ば
platforms
実験
is
完了だよ。
adding to the turbulence. Our
かか
world
っ
is
た時
under
間
many
と
stresses,
最高速
and
度をも
these
と
have
に
the potential
分
to
析と
deepen
比較を行
societal
う。
divisions, especially those along religious and racial fault lines.
雪
There
山
is
の
much work to
湖
be
を
done
泳
to
げって
narrow
こ
the
とか
gaps. We need to
条件を
foster
設
a
定しないと
cohesive
き、
and caring
人は
society
本当
in
に
order to
最
recover
も
and
合理的
forge
な方法で
ahead
目
as
標を
one
成し遂げる。
nation.Would
雪の中の
MCCY share its
湖に耐えられない
strategies
と
on
思う
how
人
it
もい
will
れば、
work with
こう
Singaporeans
い
to
う寒さ
close
が好きな
ranks
人もい
and
るから
become
ね
a。more united
君た
and
ちがどんな
resilient
選択
people?
をしたとしても、
How will the
実験の
government
一部だ
ensure
し、
that in our fight against
僕
the
にとって
pandemic and
ちゃん
consequent
と価値のあるものだか
chaos,
ら。
no one is left behind?
では頼むよ。
One of my greatest
君の答えを
concerns is the
楽しみ
state
に
of
している。
religious and racial harmony in
そうだ。
Singapore. It
オイ
is
ラたちが
threatened
テ
by
ストをしている間、
radicalization of
お前
troubled
は何する
individuals
んだ？
and groups. The most recent
僕、
case was that of a 16-year-old
データ
student
の
of
記録、
Protestant faith
危険
who
の対
plotted
応、
to attack two mosques
それから
and kill Muslim worshippers here.
応援だよ。
A few
じゃあ、
churches in
も
my
しオイラたちが泳いだら、
reached out
お
to the
前も泳
masjid
ぐの
jam
か？
at Queenstown, also in
い
my
や、
division, for
僕
a
と勝負
sharing
がしたい
and
のなら
kneel together
話は
as
別
an
だけど。
expression of solidarity to deepen the ties
聞かな
between
かった
both
ことに
faiths,
してくれ。
both faiths and condemned the incident. Strengthening religious harmony is an ongoing work in progress. We are one of the most religiously diverse countries in the world. Mutual respect and tolerance are qualities that we must all conscientiously nurture and practice and teach our young. I commend MCCY for its work to build up religious
お疲れ
tolerance
様。
among our people
正
and
直
look
驚いたよ。
forward to hearing its new
さすが噂の
initiatives.
旅人。
I propose
君の
MCCY
データは
facilitating
モンドの平均値を
regular
はるか
sharing
に上回っ
sessions
てる。
among our different
でも
faiths, which is
ず
key
ーっと
to
オイラたち
building
につい
trust
てきたお
and
前も
understanding.
大して息切れしてない
Similarly,
よな
we need to put an
僕
effort to encourage
実は
Singaporeans to do their
錬
part
金術を
to
使っ
build
て
racial harmony.
少し楽をし
The
たんだ。
more we interact with
まあ
members
それ
of
は置いて
different
おいて、
racial communities,
もし
the
テイワット
better
の
we
法
can
則が
understand one
君
another
に影
and
響を与
learn
えて
that
ない
in
なら、
fact we have so much
異
more
世界
in
文明
common
に対する
than
推測をいく
differences.
つかできる。
What is exciting for
逆
me
に
is
テイワッ
that
トの
there
法
is
則が
much wisdom we can
君に影
gather
響を与
from
えたな
those
ら、
who are different from
影
us.
響がない場合
With
の変化を
MCCY
推測する
shared
ことができ
projects
る。
and initiatives it
その
has
中に含ま
in
れた可
store
能
to
性は
further
実に面
enhance
白い。
our racial harmony.
何度も味わう価値があるよ。
Second cut,
し
Chairman.
かし
One of the silver
お前の
linings from the
研究の
COVID
役に
pandemic
立
is
つ
how
の
it
か
ignited the spirit of
僕を困らせた問題は
Gotoroyong in our
解決したよ。
society. There are various
拠点に戻ったら
interpretations and translations
君たち
for
に
this
面白い
phrase,
ものを見せられるは
including
ずだよ。
active citizenry, cooperation in a community,
その話を
and
したら
mutual aid.
君は
My
さまざまな
favorite
変わっ
is
たものと
carrying
同類になるけ
burdens
ど、
together.
それで
Because
もいいかい？
Goto means carrying a
小金、
burden using one's
石化
shoulder,
孤児、
and Royong means
通常の8倍
together
の
or
体温、
communally.
本質を探求する過
Carrying
程は
burdens together
人を夢
implies
中
a
にさせる。
willingness to help another lighten
残
his
念なの
load.
は、
It means
そうい
stepping
う夢
forward
中
to
になれる時
volunteer
間が
and lend a
常
helping
に
hand.
短いことだ。
During
僕
this
は
crisis,
僕の全
many
てをかけても構わないけ
individuals,
ど、
businesses, and community
サンプル
groups
は限られ
have
てるからね。
indeed stepped up. They voluntarily
未知が徐々に基地になる
contributed
と、
time, energy, and
そういう
money
面白さ
to
も消えてい
organize their
く。
own ground-up
最後は
initiatives
どれ
to
も
assist those
夕
in
暮れの
need.
実や
This
スイー
outpouring
ト
of
フラワーのような
selflessness
存在になって
brought strangers and the
時間をかけ
community
る価値も
together
なくな
in
る。
a common cause.
だからあのヒルチャールの絵に
I'm
も
heartened
あ
and
んなに違い
inspired
が
by
あ
the
った
efforts
ん
of
だ
our
な
people to
あ、
work together for the benefit
僕
of
はあの
our
時、
community.
時
I
間をかける
earnestly
価値
hope
はない
that
と
we
言っただ
will
ろ。
be able to continue the
僕にとっても
momentum and sustain this
興味
spirit
がなか
of
ったから
mutual
ね。
care, trust,
じゃあ、
and understanding.
この実
Even
験が
as
終
we
わ
are
ったら
helping the needy,
オイラたち
we
も
are
あんな風
simultaneously
に
building bonds across religious,
ただの
racial,
ラフ
and
がにな
cultural
るのか
boundaries, and learning more
それ
about
なら心配
ourselves
ないよ。
and our Singapore
君
identity.
たちは僕の協
A
力者。
student volunteer shared how he
こ
would
の恩
never
は
look at
忘れ
a
ないさ。
packet of food the
さて、
same way again after
拠
helping
点に
to
戻る前
distribute
に
packets of meals
最後
to
の
some
項目、
needy families.
知能
Coming
に
from
関
a
する
very
実験を終
comfortable
わらせようか。
background, it was hard
つ
for
いてき
him
て。
to visualize
向こうにある
food
遺跡に行くよ。
insecurity in our bustling city. His experience as a volunteer had been an eye-opener and strengthened his resolve to be more involved in the community. How is MCCY encouraging more individuals from all walks of life, including youths, as well as corporates, to step forward, volunteer, and contribute to make a positive impact? I would like to suggest that the ministry facilitate regular meetups for volunteers of course-based programs to share their experiences, challenges, pains, high points, hopes, and more. Each one of us has a different takeaway from our volunteering experience, such as sharing interactive sessions and motivating one another to stay involved and keep going. Otherwise, some of them may feel alone along the volunteering journey and drop off. On the other hand, if they enjoy the volunteering journey, they will encourage their family members, friends, and relatives to join them. Sharing is also helpful if boredom or inertia sets in, as fellow volunteers can give advice about different ways of contributing or even make a change to another cause. Thank you.
Ms. Tin Pei Ling.
So the COVID-19 pandemic has caused severe
Yes, sir.
challenges to our economy,
Yes, sir.
how we live our lives,
師匠の技を食らいなさい熱々でしょ
created our media platform threatening to stream our societal hotline and heighten the tension that the pandemic has raised. However, I'm heartened that my fellow Singaporeans have risen to the occasion. Singaporeans rallied around one another to keep each other safe. We've read and seen heartwarming acts of ordinary citizens giving out free masks, placing hand sanitizers in lifts, neighbors helping one
Yes, sir.
another to deliver groceries, free food for
Yes.
healthcare workers,
助けて食材が襲ってくるの
These self-initiated acts of kindness demonstrate the good in our people and reflect the strong foundation of our social values. Contrast these with the irrational acts of violence targeting Asian communities in the West, ranging from assaulting elderly Asians on the streets, vandalizing businesses operated by Asians, and calling for Asians to be deported. We cannot let any form of prejudice and discrimination poison our society. Our diverse and harmonious society today is hard-earned and too precious to lose. On this note, I would like to ask two questions. First, what are the government's strategies in strengthening Singapore's cohesion and resilience so that all Singaporeans can forge ahead together as one? Second, how will the ministry strengthen its effort in bridging the different segments of our diverse society? Sir, it is important that we press on with our efforts to galvanize our communities and rally them into action. To quote Mother Teresa, I can do things you cannot, you can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. And together, we will emerge stronger.
Mr. Chairman, will you please? I'd like to take your two cuts together, please.
Chairman, since circuit breaker, Singapore and Singaporeans underwent a dramatic transformation, quickly learning to adjust to the new normal of working and playing from home. While social distancing and the strict no-mixing rules are essential, that's the downside. Humans are social creatures. If you limit social interactions in person, we will seek it online. We form chat groups, and the online space quickly becomes an echo chamber. Our previously woven social fabric will start to fray.
旅の途中で君はたくさんの謎に出会ってきただろう。身体能力テストと同じで僕は実験を通して君の知能指数を観察したい。この遺跡を探索した後、君が得られた答えを僕に教えてくれるかい？この遺跡の両側にはそれぞれ謎があり、それをクリアすると中央の装置が起動できるはずだ。身体能力テストの時と同じ。方法の制限はない。君のしたことすべてが僕の観察したい内容だからね。これは知能テスト。運はテスト内容ではないから忘れないで。さて、あとは君次第だ。どちらを先に選ぶかも君が決めるといい。
What can be done about this? We must rethink our approach to how we can systematically encourage people of different walks to engage with each other. I heard good reviews about racial harmony days in schools, but what about schools that do not have a representative number of races? Can we do more inter-school programs, perhaps between missionary schools and madrasas or other culturally oriented schools? Look at our handphones. How many friends of other races do we count among our contacts? This would say something, won't it? This social mixing can start from our school days. We should start to reintroduce inter-school programs and activities. Allow our rich diversity to be the strength in our social bonds. Some ideas from students are: have schools inform students regularly of voluntary opportunities outside of schools. Encourage more long-term volunteer work, such as solving community problems together, so that they can work on a project for a longer period and have longer interaction. 3. Provide more funding for inter-school CCAs in niche activities such as board games, fashion design, cultural and sports events. The IRCC should also play a bigger role. In the past, it was easier to integrate new citizens and PRs as they interact with the community. Now, with social media and chat groups, they tend to form their own chats within that circle. New citizens and PRs and work pass holders should be educated on our social norms so that they can respect the multiracial, multi-religious, and multicultural aspects of our home. Thank you.
この洗礼は雪山ではよく見られる。どうやって洗礼をいるべき場所へ導くかは君次第だよ。
Mr. Chairman, I declare that I'm on the boards of Sistek and Esplanade. Artists, musicians and their work give meaning to the complex world in which we live. During the lockdown, Italian tenor Andrea Bocelli performed at an empty Milan cathedral that lifted the spirits of millions around the world. Museums offered virtual tours to all who needed a culture fix while self-isolating. And I joined Singaporeans all across the island to belt out in solidarity from our balconies, these home trees. Indeed, like Lee said in the speech, human beings need arts and culture to nourish our souls. The arts and culture industry is among the hardest hit by COVID-19. Creative people are, however, resilient people, and the show must go on. Many have pivoted to teaching, and of course going digital is inevitable. Cystic, for example, had to pivot quickly so as to support our arts groups and venues to go online. Esplanade and SSO were among the first to pilot with ticketed live stream performances here, and viewers, including global audiences, were delighted to consume Singapore arts content during CB. To go digital, artists need a digital stage, but tech resources are scarce and funding is needed, especially since many in the creative sector are gig workers, self-employed professionals, and SMEs. A young Singaporean woman composer musician, Niali, shared with me her gratitude for the Geylang Serai Arts platform, which helped her to go digital. I was encouraged to hear Niali tell me that she has also signed up for a course on digital marketing and is also using her talents to help the disadvantaged. COVID-19 is the burning platform that drives businesses and professionals across all sectors to digitalize, to reskill and to transform, and the arts is no exception. Does MCCY plan to scale platforms like Geylang Serai? Will MCCY support with more shared space for ideation and experimentation? Is it in MCCY's plans to bring the creative and tech talents together to co-create new innovative and sustainable models for the arts? Performance have started to come back, but audience max at 250 pax and in bubble wrap sitting. It does not look like large-scale events and lounge performances will return in the near future. Does the 45 million resilience package, which is much appreciated, support the gig workers and the SEPs in our creative industries? And can the social and wellness industries tap on our creative talents? Sir, the creative value chain from artists to content producers, from promoters to event organizers, from venues to ticketing agents, from designers to art and music teachers, all contribute to Singapore's creative capital. That is Singapore's soft power. I hope that Singaporeans, corporates, the government and the creative community themselves can come together to strengthen and grow our Singapore creative capital. Now that we even have the University of the Arts, what we have to do for our creative capital to turn to go drama did here. And on that note, let me quote the lyrics from one of Niali's COVID-19 songs. The world is big and we are small.
師匠の技を食らいなさい。やっ。やっ。
on her own. Thank you, and I wish everyone
Yeah.
happy international.
Yeah. Yeah. 料理の時間だよ。
COVID-19 has impacted the arts sector
ミュージックスタート。
やるじゃないか。
due to the restrictions around live performances. Arts practitioners have had to become and many have turned to other sources of income. Today I shall touch on the great uncertainty felt in the industry and whether it can emerge stronger through COVID. Here's artists amidst COVID. To cope with this, the government has provided initiatives like the Arts and Culture Resilience Package, the Job Support Scheme for employees, and for freelancers, the Self-Employed Persons Income Relief Scheme. These are certainly welcome measures. Nevertheless, the threat of earning income has led to arts practitioners taking on other gigs, such as becoming Grab drivers in order to pay bills. I wonder if the ministry has an idea of the number of arts practitioners, technicians, and other freelancers who have moved on to other industries, perhaps never to return. Related to earning income, there is also been feedback that the restrictions on live performances appear relatively harsh when compared to other activities. For instance, restaurants have customers at the same table at close proximity, chatting and laughing for hours without masks on. Restaurants can also move their tables or chairs around to maximize their capacity. In contrast, theatres and concert halls have fixed seats. When social distancing measures are applied, some are down to 25% capacity. But their audiences are required to sit silently with masks on during the entire performance. Given the arguably lower risk, is there room for a review of the rules around live performances? Next, physical spaces. Venues like the substation have long been associated with the pursuit of art for its own sake, understanding that incubation takes time and artists need autonomy and flexibility. Having spaces managed by independent arts groups gives artists the comfort that those in charge understand the nature of art making and will accommodate creative spirits as they undertake pioneering endeavors. I note that there has been some unease recently about several arts organizations losing their venues for various reasons or being asked to relinquish autonomy over buildings they have long managed. Some of these buildings will be upgraded by the National Arts Council and thereafter be leased by the NAC to multiple users as part of a national plan. There have been concerns raised about how such a move would undermine independence in arts creation. Key concerns cited were the uncertainty of lease renewals, cost and bureaucracy. Some practitioners have also expressed dissatisfaction with the perceived lack of proper communication about physical spaces before momentous announcements are made. How successful has the government been in getting buy-in from the arts industry regarding their urban governance plans? And finally, could the MCCY elaborate on its COVID recovery plan for the arts?
Culture and sports sectors have been severely disrupted by COVID. The recent Singapore Tennis Open is a big step forward in the safe and gradual resumption of events and activities, but we are far from out of the woods. Last year, MCCY introduced a broad range of support measures for the arts and culture and sports fraternities. For example, the Arts and Culture Resilience Package includes an operating grant of up to $75,000 for over 300 eligible organizations, whereas the Sports Resilience Package supports critical players and preserves core capabilities and pipeline development in our ecosystem through operating grants and allowances for coaches.
これで中央にある装置を起動する条件はクリアしたはずだ。一体何が起こるのか。
Arts and culture and sport are key to our social fabric. Without these, we would be a poorer society. Well, actually, without arts and culture and sports, we would be a poor society.
これで水の中のものをじっくりと調べられるはずだ。行ってみよう。
essential to who we are as a society, and COVID has made this more salient, not less. Last year, I served in the community care facility for migrant workers who were confirmed COVID positive. These workers were taken away from work, away from their dorms, away from the community, and had to be in the CCFs until they recover. So anxiety was high about the disease, about jobs, about their families. Recognizing this, a ground-up group partnered us to run art therapy sessions for the workers in the CCF. And it was a huge hit. Not only that, it made a real impact. The act of creating art was a cathartic outlet for the workers, and so we ran as many sessions as we could. Facilitators, translators, all in full PPE. This, I think, is a simple but powerful example of how art can uplift all of us in our darkest hours. To this end, can MCCY share its plans to enhance our people's interest and participation in arts and culture and sports going forward?
僕は先に拠点に戻って君たちが戻ってくる頃には奇跡の瞬間を見せることができるはずだ。
And how can we ensure athletes' safety and well-being amidst traveling and training? And as importantly, what are the plans to help athletes adjust to safety measures and reach peak condition at the right time? Fourth part. In 2018, the Safe Sports Commission was launched with a mandate to guard against misconduct and abuse in the sports fraternity. There are many cautionary tales around the world. Larry Nasser, who was US gymnastics doctor, assaulted more than 100 female athletes over 3 decades, including Olympic gold medalists Michaela Maroney, Ellie Raisman, and Gabby Douglas. Survivors came out and gave heart-wrenching
見知らぬ人の指示に従って正体のわからない薬を飲んだり意味不明な実験に参加したり単純というより君が騙されていたと信じたもしくはわざとそうしたとか
because of abuse allegations as well. But the Sport Federation had also been accused of failing to respond adequately to complaints, with some coaches allowed to evade accusers and authorities, move to new cities, and gain coaching jobs at new clubs where they found fresh victims. We've done well in Singapore, but we cannot take for granted that abuse will not happen here. We need to put in place comprehensive measures to ensure sports here remain safe for everyone. Men and women, boys and girls, professional, school, and community athletes. To this end, what else is MCCY doing to ensure safe sports in Singapore? Thank you.
とにかくその脅威をモンドに戻すことはできないわ。
Chairman, please allow me to take the next two cuts together. Yes, please. Thank you. At the outset, I should declare that I am chairman of SNOC's Athletes Commission. My first cut relates to the safety and travelling of national athletes. In my budget speech, I said that sports inspires and unites. Our Team Singapore athletes have multiple opportunities to fly our flag high at the Olympics, Paralympics, and Southeast Asian Games. I hope that our athletes and sport teams harness this opportunity whilst protecting themselves as they train and prepare for their competitions. I want to thank MCCY and Sports SG for making the COVID-19 vaccination available for athletes who need to go abroad for training and competitions. Although we have these target competitions in mind, the road to these major competitions is long. Our athletes will still need to train and qualify for them. I hope that the respective government agencies will provide adequate opportunities and access to resources for eligible athletes to train and prepare themselves adequately for the glory of Singapore. My second cut relates to Goal 2034. Goal 2034 was an idea mooted by FAS in August 2019 and discussed at the COS in 2020. An ambitious plan to have our football team qualify for the World Cup. At first glance, it may seem as though it is an impossible task, but accomplishing seemingly impossible tasks is something Singapore has no lack of experience in. Goal 2034 should not focus on singularly achievement of just football and the nation's endeavour to qualify for the World Cup. Success should take a broader perspective, covering the other active sports, development systems, culture, and the industry. Goal 2034 presents an excellent opportunity to test our sports ecosystem and be the catalyst that levels up Singapore as a sporting nation. Many vital factors are critical to the achievement of this goal. I want to address three of them. 1. Develop a broad base to identify talent. I believe Singapore has athletic, coaching, and administrative talent, and we have seen Singaporeans achieve on the global stage. However, much of this is left to chance. I hope MCCY can consider how systems can be put in place to identify and groom athletes, coaches, and administrators. 2. Systems and pathways. I want to ask if the systems and progression pathways are robust and competitive enough to reach Goal 2034.
しかし、
Are the
戻
leagues
って
and
くるまで
divisions competitive enough
結
to
構
groom
時間がかかった
talent
ね
to be world beaters?
何かあっ
Can
た
we
結論から言おう
definitively say that our leagues are
今
as
日
competitive as the
多
EPL,
くの
La
データ
Liga,
を手に入れることができたか
Bundesliga, or
ら
Serie A?
すぐに
If
全
not,
ての
we
研
can,
究を終わら
can
せ
we
ることは
enable more
難しい
Singaporeans to venture
で
overseas
も
and play in
全
more
体を通し
competitive
た
leagues?
初歩的な
Last week,
結論なら
Irfan
教えられ
Fadli,
る
as part of his club BG Putam,
それは
became the first Singaporean to be part of a team that won Thailand's top-tier football league. In sports that have consistently performed for Singapore, such as swimming,
まあ
Joseph
焦らない
Schooling
で
and Kwa Cheng-wen live and train
君
abroad
たちにとっ
to
ては当た
spar
り
with
前
the
だけど
world's best on daily
この世
basis.
界にとっては当たり
Though
前
most
の
of
こ
our
となんてない
national swim team
こ
train
ういう
at the
可能性は
NTC
考
and
え
the
たこと
Sports
あるかい
Hubs Aquatic Center. It took many
テイ
years
ワ
for
ッ
the
トという
swimming
世界
ecosystem
は
to develop.
よそ者
There
に
is no
対し
doubt
て
in my mind
拒
that
絶
more
反応
sports
を
in
起
Singapore
こす
should
と
establish systems and pathways
この世界
to
の法則を
identify,
話しただろう
develop, and train more talent.
君が無事に
What are
僕と
MCCY's
会話
plans
してる
to
ことは
achieve
普通
this?
に見えるけど
3.
本
Create
当
an
は奇跡だ
environment
ったり
for
するかも
sports
し
to
れない
thrive.
な
This
ぜなら
entails A. Enabling
君と同
Singaporeans
じ
to participate
よ
and
そから
compete
来
in
た
sports
命
safely. And I would
僕が
like to
話した
acknowledge the
種は
honorable members Sito
テイワットの
Yipin
法則
and
に影
Seah
響され
Yao
て
Chen for their
成
comments
長
on
す
the
ることす
importance
ら
of
で
safe
きない
sport.
しかし
Ensure coaches and
君を
trainers are
観
given
察した後
adequate and relevant training
僕は
that
他の
meets
ア
the
イデア
needs
を
of
ひ
the
らめいたん
industry
だ
and
君
see
の命
that
を
there
真似
is
し
a
て
vibrant sports industry for
錬金
businesses
術
to
に
thrive.
新たなイ
We
ン
should
スピレー
continue
ショ
to
ンを加
enhance
え
the
る
capabilities of SEPs and promote the SMEs in this sector. Mr. Chairman, 2034 is just 14 years away, And if we are strategic in our approach, we are looking at the current batch of primary school students who are likely to be in our starting lineup. We must act swiftly before this window
こ
of
の世界でない
opportunity
命を
narrows.
育むことは世界を育むことにならないかい。おや、これが限界みたいだね。一瞬だけど最高に綺麗な花を咲かす生命の極地もここにあるんだよ。
And return, we'll remember the intense longing for that hearty meal of roti prata, satay, or char kway teow. And sometimes we would all have them at the same time. In this regard, who does not appreciate our Singapore hawker fare? In hawker centres that echo with its trademark chatter of voices,
長さで決めつけるべきではない。たとえ一瞬でも短い命が必ずしも悪いことではない。効率的で完璧、孤独にとらわれないことを意味する。わかるかな？僕が言った。僕たちの会話は奇跡かもしれないことについて。
This only further reinforced the fact that our hawker centers and hawker culture are truly part of our home and heritage. We must pay tribute to our hawkers, thousands of men and women who labored long hours over hot stoves and produced meals to feed Singaporeans.
ありがとう。
Not only have they fed our
孤
food
独をな
culture,
くすこ
they've
とは
also
必要だと思ってない
contributed
けど、
richly to Singapore's multiculturalism.
これも悪くないかな。君が協力してくれたおかげで、僕は花を咲かす可能性に気づいた。いや、雪山で君たちと過ごした時間は価値のある旅だったよ。今後、もし必要があったら、またお願いしてもいいかい？それなら、よろしく頼む。
And know how this culture evolved. If education is the soul of a society,
実験
then let
結
us
果は
teach our
普通だっ
children
て
the origins and
彼
vibrant
に言ってき
history
たけど、
of our hawker culture.
瓶の底に現
How
れ
we
ないはず
evolved
の
from
よどみ
street
があるの
peddling
は
to the setting up of licensed hawker
一体
establishments
どういうこ
as a
と
long
だ。
part of the journey
国
to
土を
preserve
吸え
food
ば汚れ、
safety and hygiene
白
without
亜を
losing
吸えば無垢に
authenticity.
なる。
Using digital means and
君
heartwarming
も僕も
stories, our humble hawker
未来が
history
不
can
確か
thus
な
come alive.
素体ってことか。
We should celebrate our
もしい
hawker
つか
culture as part of the school studies curriculum.
暴走する
We
僕
can
は
record,
問答
digitally publish, teach,
壊
and
そ
share
う
the
としたら
recipes and food preparation
君が
methods
止め
through
てくれることを
applications so that our children know the
期待しても
ingredients
いい
that
だろう
make
か。
up these unique dishes and discover more about their cultural significance. Chair, there are plenty of nuggets to be unearthed. For instance, char kway teow is a wok fried noodle dish that has its roots in Teochew culture, originating from the region of Chaozhou in China's Guangdong province. In Cantonese stir-fried cuisine, the reference to wok hei, literally the breath of the wok, is a culinary term used to refer to the harmony of taste in a stir-fried dish. Even in the